Last week, the Supreme Court heard oral arguments for the Gill v. Whitford case. The case was brought forward by Democrats in Wisconsin. The plaintiff is arguing that gerrymandering across Wisconsin is unconstitutional because it weakens Democratic votes statewide. Talking Points contributor Shruti Marathe is here to break it down. Shruti, thanks so much for being here.
Of course, my pleasure.
How did this case make its way to the nation's highest court?
It all started in 2010 when the census came out. Afterwards, the legislators redrew district lines to basically define what each congressional district would be. After the 2012 election, Republicans won 60 out of 99 votes by seats in the House with less than 50% of the vote. So obviously Democrats are bringing it forward now, saying that their voice is not being heard in Congress and saying that it's a constitutional issue.
Now, going into this case, what are the major contentions in these oral arguments from both sides?
Yeah, so the plaintiffs and the liberal opinion of the court is basically that it's a First Amendment issue, not a 14th Amendment issue, which is really interesting because most gerrymandering cases have said it's a 14th Amendment equal protection issue. In this case, the plaintiff is arguing First Amendment, we're being discriminated against because of our political view. Conservatives are arguing that it's not the court's issue to intervene in this case, and most conservative justices are saying that Congress should really handle gerrymandering issues, not the court.
And speaking of conservatives, we do have some audio from oral arguments from Justice Neil Gorsuch questioning judicial authority. Let's take a listen.
Congress acting in this area?
Other than the fact that politicians are never going to fix gerrymandering, they like gerrymandering. This is the problem in this area is if you don't do it, it's locked up. The voters of Wisconsin can't get it on the ballot without the legislature's consent.
And yeah, that's really the main issue. Like, the plaintiff and a lot of Democrats are arguing, like, if we don't have the Supreme Court or a court really take a stand on this issue, Congress has really no incentive to change the ballot not in their favor and get themselves voted out of office.
And now, this being the first docket with newly appointed Justice Neil Gorsuch, how do you think SCOTUS comes down on this? What do you think the ruling is?
I mean, you can really see a 4-4 split. The one justice that it's going to come down to is Kennedy. That's where it makes a really big deal that the plaintiff is making a First Amendment argument, because we've seen Kennedy get really passionate about the First Amendment, both voting for Citizens United, but also voting in protection of flag burning. So it really comes down to how he votes.
When we see how fundamental this vote is actually going to be and the significance going beyond that, it's not only going to affect Wisconsin, it's going to affect states throughout the country.
Yeah.
So how does that significance play into the ultimate role of this here?
I mean, it answers the question on if we're going to have competitive legislative elections going forward. Like, who's your congressman back home?
Joe Kennedy III.
And what party does he represent?
The Democrats.
And how long have the Democrats held that seat?
Since Barney Franklin.
Exactly.
I mean, look here in Onondaga County, right? You have John Katko. This is the first time in decades that somebody's actually repeated and stayed in office.
And it's never even a question. Even back in my 12th representative district in New Jersey, we always know that a Democrat is going to win. And especially in this day and age where voters feel like their voice isn't being heard and don't trust their government, it's important for the Supreme Court to make a decision to show that each vote will matter regardless of gerrymandering.
Well, this is the first big case in this new docket. There's certainly going to be plenty more to watch. Shruti, thanks so much for being here.
My pleasure.